What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button because that's the most important thing you can do for me on this channel. What it does, that helps make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get the notifications, and it also helps to push this video through the YouTube algorithm as well. Secondly, if you're new to the channel, or maybe you've been ghost watching this channel for quite some time now, please do me a favor and yourself a favor by hitting the subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. And lastly, please make sure you share this video out on your social media platforms to your family and friends to inform them on this news and information. And yes, that does help to give me a slight boost in the YouTube algorithm as well. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today we're headed back to Denver. We haven't been to Denver in a while, but we're headed back to Denver because not too long ago, we had a situation happen in Denver where 8 suspected Venezuelan migrants violently robbed a Hispanic-owned jewelry store. The reason I say suspected Venezuelan, air quote, migrants, and I don't say that as if it's a matter of fact, is because we don't know 100% yet whether or not these are Biden's migrants. But what we do know, based off of the victim's testimony, who owns the jewelry store, who was Hispanic, she stated that when these individuals were speaking, they spoke with Venezuelan accents. So I want to get into this news clip right now. Then after that, I want to go into an article just to give us a little bit more detail on this situation and the relationship between the United States and Venezuela also. But let's get into this clip first, and we're going to jump into it right now.
It was extremely violent.
It was this moment caught on camera when Mirna Munoz says she knew something didn't feel right as one man pretended to be shopping, and then these 3 men sat in the cage waiting to be let into their shop, Joyeria El Ruby.
So the individual that was standing right here pulled a gun, and the 3 individuals that came in pulled guns.
Customers dropping to their knees, held at gunpoint. Some of the staff fleeing to the back. Munoz able to grab her kids and escape.
My mom and my cousin closed the door as I grabbed my 18-month-old baby.
Her mom, Lydia.
Imagine that she had to grab her 18-month-old baby. I want to rewind that part, and I'm going to blow the screen up because you can see here, it appears as if they had the baby probably like in a little, I was going to say a basket, you know, but maybe like in a little swing set, just something back there. And I'll blow it up. And look at this. You can see her
fleeing
grabbing
to the back.
The baby.
Munoz able.
It's coming up right here. Look where it's kind of blocked at the little doorway, whatever that is at the bottom.
Able to grab her kids and escape.
My mom.
Right there. She grabs the baby.
And my cousin closed the door as I grabbed my 18-month-old baby.
Her mom.
Completely ridiculous. Now it's going to get worse from here. And just so you know ahead of time, and so YouTube understands as well, the YouTube AI, these guys were brutal. The women that you see here, the mother, and I believe it was the cousin that's on the floor. The mother is the one at the door. The cousin is the one that's on the floor, if I'm not mistaken. You're going to see these savages brutally beat these 2 women, pistol whip them with their gun. That's what's going to happen. Now, that portion of the video is going to be blurred out. But if you want to watch this video in its entirety, minus my commentary, without the pistol whipping portion blurred out, I will leave the link to the original news video in the description box below. But let's carry on. I just wanted to give that disclaimer first. The portion where the women are actually getting pistol whipped, it's going to be blurred out. You're not going to see that here on this channel. But let's carry on.
Lydia.
As I grabbed my 18-month-old baby.
Her mom, Lydia Tena, tried to hit the panic button before one of the robbers attacked her.
They hit her in the back of her head with the gun 3 times. They also hit my cousin Magdalena in the back of the head. She felt like they were going to kill her after they hit her 3 times with the gun in her head. And she, one of the times, tried to move to push the panic button. And they told her that if she moved at all once more, that they were going to kill her and they were going to kill my cousin.
Within another minute, cameras in the back capturing 4 more men entering the back door.
They had white gloves and they were all loading their guns.
Munoz says one assaulted her sister, who walked into all the chaos.
So remember, one of the girls fled out with the 18-month-old baby. They got out just in time with the child because 1 minute later, these savages entered in towards the back way that she left from.
Cameras in the back capturing 4 more men entering the back door.
They had white gloves and they were all loading their guns.
Munoz says one assaulted her sister, who walked into all the chaos.
He grabbed her by her hair, pulled her up the stairs, and told her not to move or he was going to kill her. And while he had her face down to the floor, he yanked all of her personal jewelry off.
The 8 men wiping out the store that's been here for 24 years in a matter of 3 minutes.
Everything, they just sort of started putting it in backpacks and duffel bags.
Denver police confirming they are looking for these 8 Hispanic men.
It's organized crime and their accent is from Venezuela.
Walls now bare and
I'm going to rewind that back one more time. It's organized crime and their accents are from Venezuela. Like I said, we don't know for sure if these guys are Tren de Aragua. We don't know, for sure if these guys are technically, Venezuelan migrants, Biden's migrants, illegal immigrants. We don't know that for sure to be a complete 100% fact, but I think it is more than safe to speculate that that is who they are. I think it's more than safe to say that, given all of the information that we've collected over the time on this channel concerning crime from Tren de Aragua overall, right? It's safe to say that this is most likely part of that gang that's happening here.
in a matter of 3 minutes.
Everything, they just sort of started putting it in backpacks and duffel bags.
Denver police confirming they are looking for these 8 Hispanic men.
It's organized crime and their accent is from Venezuela.
Walls now bare and shelves disheveled. This family shaken and scared for the future of their shop.
This is very traumatizing.
Sí, tengo mucho miedo.
Yes, I'm very scared, and mostly for our kids.
So once again, this was a jewelry store that was in their community for, what did they say, 24, 25 years? And in a matter of 3 minutes, they wiped it clean. This is why you see many Hispanics, a good deal of Hispanics, when it comes to illegal immigration, they don't bite the bullet, you know, for lack of better terms, when it comes to the fear mongering surrounding, you know, they're going to deport families and they're going to snatch up babies and put them in cages that they say that Trump is going to do. You see a good deal of Hispanics actually don't go for that, because contrary to popular belief, contrary to what many Democrats would like you to believe, a good deal of Hispanics, they're not with illegal immigration at all. They're not with it at all, primarily due to the fact that, outside of the fact that it's just, you know, wrong and it's criminal in and of itself inherently, because you're breaking the law to get in here, these guys typically target their own, right? When I think about all of the so-called migrant crime, illegal immigration, illegal immigrant crime that we've covered on this channel, most times than not, it's safe to say a lot more than half of the times, you know, they're committing these crimes against their own people. You get what I'm saying? So that's why it's not easy to trigger the Hispanic community with the fear mongering that you see the Dems try to do concerning kids in cages and so on and so forth, because the reality is that they don't want to deal with this. They don't want to deal with the embarrassment of it all. They don't want to deal with the violence and the crime of it all, for lack of better words, right? So anyways, that does it for this video here. I want to take a quick moment to pivot to this article right here. And the link to this article will be in the description box below as well, so you can read it in its entirety, minus my, you know, commentary and whatnot. It's titled 8 Armed Men with Venezuelan Accents Violently Robbed Denver Jewelry Store. And my reasoning for bringing this up is because I just want to give you a little bit of the history, right? The recent history in between, actually the recent history between Venezuela and the United States, right? And how rocky that relationship is. The reality is that there actually isn't really much of a relationship there at all, but it gets into the complications of attempting to deport Venezuelan migrants back to Venezuela, or once again, let me correct myself, Venezuelan illegal immigrants back to Venezuela. So the article reads as such: the women who were working in the store said that the Spanish-speaking criminals clearly had Venezuelan accents. Colorado has become a hotbed for illegal alien crime thanks to Democrat Governor Jared Polis and the Democrat-controlled state legislature, which has turned the state into a sanctuary for those illegally in the country. Colorado is now ranked as the third most dangerous state in the country. That is rather unbelievable. Now, to what degree illegal immigration has to do with that, I don't know, to be fair, right? To be fair, I'm a fair guy. To be fair, I don't know. But that's still just wild to think that Colorado is the third most dangerous state in the country. But I digress. Let's carry on. Federal law enforcement officials have launched well over 100 criminal investigations into Venezuelan criminal gangs that have invaded the United States under President Joe Biden, NBC News reported. The Biden administration releases the violent criminals into the U.S. when no criminal history comes up in any database when they are apprehended at the border. But why is that? Why is that so many of these obvious criminals are showing up as not having a criminal history when they're apprehended? Well, here's why. No criminal history is available on them because Venezuelans intentionally will not share that information, the report said. And that's something that a lot of people don't know. The Venezuelan government does not share the criminal history of its migrants coming into the country. You can request it all you want. They are not going to give it to you. And that's not something that I made up off the top of my head. That's not something that came from some far right news outlet, that didn't come from the Heritage Foundation or anything like that, because I know how some folks are, right? That came from a report by NBC News, which is a report that we covered here before. That came from NBC News, to the degree that that matters. Now, for me, whether it came from, The Blaze or whether it comes from NBC News, facts are facts. It doesn't matter to me. But I know for some people that matters, which is kind of ridiculous. But yeah, Venezuelan government does not share the criminal status, right, of these so-called migrants that are coming into the country. They will not do it. And then here's another issue as well that to me is not really an issue, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But it reads, Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro's socialist regime seems intent on unleashing violent crime and chaos on the streets of America as it refuses to allow the U.S. to deport their criminals back to Venezuela. That's something else that a lot of people don't know as well, is that the president of Venezuela actually is refusing to accept back these criminals. In my personal opinion, this is only an issue because Joe Biden is president. It's only an issue because Joe Biden is president, the same way that the migrant crisis has only happened because it was intentionally created by Joe Biden. If you go back to Donald Trump's, I believe it's called the Remain in Mexico law, right? The Remain in Mexico law. The reason that was able to work the way it did is not because Mexico cared about the United States concerning illegal immigration and how it may affect us, right? It's because, if I remember correctly, Donald Trump basically threatened Mexico and said that, look, you're going to hold all of these illegal immigrants in your country. You're going to keep them there since you can't control your border. And if you don't play along and play ball and hold them there, make them remain in Mexico, essentially, I'm going to destroy your economy. I'm going to completely annihilate it. I don't remember the specifics of it, if it was just sanctions that he was going to impose on Mexico, or if it was going to be a very aggressive tax on certain products. So forgive me for not having the details of that. I don't remember what the details of it are. But essentially, he was going to destroy their economy. He was going to completely wreck the country if they didn't hold these illegal immigrants in Mexico. And because Mexico, essentially, they can't mess with the United States, for lack of better words. They're weak in the face of the United States, especially if you have somebody in office who isn't weak. Because of that imbalance in power, with how strong the United States is versus Mexico, Mexico had no choice but to comply. This same thing could be done with Venezuela. And even to the degree that it can't be done, where maybe they stand their ground and say, you can do whatever you want concerning sanctions and tariffs and taxes, we don't care. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, if we're being honest, Venezuela, just like Mexico, can't mess with the United States. As the old Jay-Z saying goes, and I believe Nas said this as well in terms of hip hop terminology, your arms are too short to box with God. Your arms are way too short to box with God. If I'm going to drop them off in their home country, Venezuela, if that's what I'm going to do, then that's what I'm going to do. And try to stop me if you can, which you can't, because your arms are too short to box with God. Venezuela just can't mess with the United States on any level unless they have some sort of assistance from China or something crazy like that, which currently at the moment, I don't believe they have that strong of a relationship with China. But the point is, you know, in closing, because this video is running long, if Biden wanted to, he can just bully Venezuela and drop these folks off if you wanted to. And to me, it's not bullying, because you're intentionally releasing these criminals into the country and then not playing along by letting us know who they are. So to me, that's not bullying. I'm going to drop them off in their homeland, and there's nothing that you're going to do about it. That would be the approach that you take from that moment forward when you have a situation like this occurring. But I digress. This video is running long. 17 minutes is a lot for today's news clip. So we're going to shut it down and end it here. You get the gist of what's going on in Denver. That does it for today's news. So thank you all for joining me today. Hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video out on your social media platforms. And also don't forget to follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. Thank you all for your time. And until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.